Hello, so today we're going to be playing a game of Rebels, and I'm going to hit something kind of crazy. First time I hit it this set, it's going to be a ZOE 3 game, so make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. This is going to be a VOD review, so I'm just going to be explaining my steps along the way and post-game commentary. For those of you that are trying to learn or see what my thought process is like and how I'm playing. That's what this is for, but I'm also going to post guides. There's a guide coming out tomorrow. I'm going to do an econ guide. It's going to be a retelling of the one that I did for set 12, if you saw those ones, if you're somebody that's a long-time viewer of the channel. But I'll just redo it, try and make it a little bit more condensed, a little bit shorter. And then I'm also going to be redoing Orn artifacts and reroll guides, but I'm going to wait until the next patch because there's a lot of changes coming. So there's a lot of things that, like, you know, the stats maybe are indicating certain units are better than others with certain Orn artifacts. I'd like to have it on the month-long patch, so it's a little bit more relevant for you guys. So please just, you know, pause, wait. It will be out with ample time for you guys to learn. Don't worry about it. Here for Prismatic, it's Prismatic start. I'm just gonna take level up. At what cost is kind of risky, but it's also really good. I like level up out of all of the econ leveling augments one. I feel like you just get the most value. The point of level up is that I'm going to try and play AP Flex again. I'm an AP Flex enjoyer. If you know anything about me, if you've watched my channel since the inception, or if you watch it for just a week, I always bitch when it's reroll. I love to play Flex. Right now, the current meta, at least for today, still, and we'll see how it works out tomorrow with the new patch, is that AP Flex is very strong. That's my comfort zone. I'm ranking up a lot. I'm playing a lot offline. I'm having a great old time. It brings a tear to my eye. This is the TFT that I knew and loved, that I used to play all the time, the reason I started this YouTube channel. The patch is a little bit maybe degenerate. I know some of you might not enjoy it. That's totally fine. I'm just saying that this is exactly something that I would strive in. So every game that I have an opportunity, if I see a rod or a tier on that side column right there, I'm playing AP Flex, right? That's just the way it goes. I'm not touching any of these rerolls. I'm not touching any of this garbanzo beans. I'm just going to play AP Flex. What is AP Flex? I have a Flex guide if you want to figure out what I'm doing in general. But basically, I'm either going to play ZOE, I'm going to play Heimer, I'm going to play Silco. I'm going to try and make items that work for all of those units. Right now, I don't have the strongest of openers, so I'm probably going to look here to make econ and try and stabilize my early game, and then try and push levels later. So as you can see, I'm already level 5 because pumping one level and level up, just gives you a huge advantage. If you look at my shop is actually really interesting because I basically have 5 Rebel in shop. If you know anything about 5 Rebel, it is very strong, especially on stage 2. It gives HP, it gives a lot of stats. And it gives like this attack speed. It gives a lot, basically. 5 Rebel is not the greatest thing in like your stage 3, but stage 2, all of a sudden now, I don't make econ here. You might notice. The reason I don't make econ is like, wait a second, I might be able to win all of stage 2. I know I lost the first round, but 5 Rebel is very strong. Not even slamming items, I'm pretty sure I'll win a lot of these fights, especially if people are sacking. So I'm pretty comfortable around this spot. Like I said, when I started the game out, I was thinking about playing AP Flex. Because I already have 5 Rebel in, there's a good chance I'm just going to play Rebel this game. The reason is that I already have all the low-cost units, right? If I can tempo my way, if I win a lot of these rounds, for example, that's what I mean by tempo my way. If I win most of these rounds on stage 2, I'm going to have a lot of gold, a lot of HP. I have an econ augment level up, which is going to make it easier for me to go to level 8. I should have the choice of what I want to play. So in a case like this, it would probably be best for me to just, you know, level up and roll my gold and play a little bit more narrow, looking for the ZOE. If I focus on ZOE instead of playing Flex, I can also make my items a lot better for the ZOE unit in particular. What do I mean by that? There's some items that aren't as good. Like I personally, I don't know if it's much better in the stats, but it looks like roughly better last time I checked. But personally, I like to put JG on ZOE. You can make Archangels, you can make like Nashers and all of those items. Like the same that works with Heimer, but I'm much more of a fan of putting like big crit damage or big damage amp on the ZOE because the way that she can snipe the backline. I really want that ball shot that she does to hit the backline and hit them like a truck. So I enjoy that more than the scaling version of the comps because obviously when you're playing Rebel, as much as you have this unkillable Alawi, your front line is a lot more focused on just one unit. So sometimes if it gets bursted down, you really want to match that with like high speed burst damage early. So I think that something like Archangel scaling doesn't work as well with like the Rebel style of comp. Now obviously that's a preference thing. You can have your own successes all sorts of ways. I've been destroyed by ZOE with Archangels, but I'm just trying to give you an insight to what the game plan is going forward, at least for me. Here, I'm probably just going to make a, like, if I could, I would have made a Sunfire Cape. I'm not sure what to take here. I just take Bow. I still can't, I wanted to slam an item here, really importantly, but because I'm really high HP, there wasn't really anything that I needed, on Carousel. I don't really want to make, like, a Stone Plate, so I don't want to take a Cloak. If I could, I would have taken Belt, and I would have made Sunfire. That's really good early game, and it also has good longevity into being good late game. So I'm down to do that as well. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not going to make any of these items, by the way. It's just these items are too valuable, right? Sword is too difficult to kill. I can make a Giant Slayer with the sword and the bow, but it feels almost meaningless. Giant Slayer does extra damage if the opponent's units have above 1750 HP. For that reason, it's a very bad slam early game. It's something that's kind of alright and pretty good late game sometimes, depending on other people's boards, but you're basically going to get like 0 value of the bonus effects of it for like the first all of stage 2 and most of stage 3 basically. Because the enemy units just won't have enough HP to proc the Giant Slayer, right? So that's why I'm reluctant to slam that. The only other item you can really make with sword when you're playing like an AP focused line is Shojin, right? And Shojin is like the best of both worlds. It just like kills the sword, and it's a good item because you want to make a mana casting item. Another note that I'll say, you might have noticed at one point in this game, I had a bunch of Rels. I didn't buy and upgrade the Rels. I'm still trying to make Econ here, right? I could have made like a Rel 2, and yes, I can play the Rel 2. Right now, I'm a strong believer that 5 Rebel is going to be stronger than Rel 2 on my board. There's maybe one person out of these people that I can see that I beat, and that's just the guy that found a couple upgrades. But I'd much rather just sell the units on my bench, make sure that I have a lot of money, because with that money, I'll make it I'll make it to level 8 very easily. I'll be able to play a lot more narrow because I'll have the gold resources. I'd rather do that than keep my streak. I know I'm 3-streaking. I could have even pushed a level here and go level 6 and maybe beat this guy, but I just don't see the point. This was one of the few people that would have beat me. It's a little bit unfortunate because I wasn't able to slam an item earlier, but that's fine. I don't want to make a Giant Slayer. I don't think Giant Slayer would have made me win this fight. Maybe it did, I don't know, but I'd rather just guarantee making 30, right? If I upgraded the Rel the previous rounds, I wouldn't be making 30. Now I'm in a spot where I can also make 40 gold. My econ is impeccable. It's as good as it could be considering that I'm already level 5 and I have level up, right? I'm in a pretty good spot money-wise. So I didn't want to grief that. That's why I never upgraded the Rel, and that's why I didn't try and pivot my board to be anything besides this board, which was very effective and cheap. And I'm also holding a lot of 2-cost units, so it is what it is. Ideally now I do want to slam items. If you're inconsistent streaking, I remember in my other guide I was talking about it, right? You always want to either have a bunch of HP, a bunch of gold, or a bunch of board value. So right now I'm trying to work with having a bunch of gold, but I want to balance that with HP. So if I'm not consistently streaking where I'm getting even more gold, that it makes sense for me to be in a really insane spot, then I would much rather make sure that I have a good amount of HP. So I want to slam items here for sure. I'm looking at my items. I don't really have a frontline item. Like I said, I like JG on ZOE if I'm trying to play towards the ZOE line a little bit better. I have these bows that, with 2 bows, like, you know, if I had a belt, I'd make a Nasher. Shojin Nasher is really good synergy because the Nashers gives attack speed, and then the Shojin gives you extra mana per auto attack. So together it makes you like into a casting demon. But here, I'm definitely making Shojin. It's probably my best use of sword. I'm definitely making JG. It's probably my best use of glove. And then I'm left with these components. I just make red buff. Red buff is alright on ZOE. She hits multiple units and she hits the backline, and it gives her damage amp. So it works out pretty well that she'll be able to, like, you know, kill a bunch of units and put yourself in a pretty good spot in a lot of the fights. This guy has an Mbessa already. You know, he's subscription service, and he has 2 copies of Elise and an Mbessa. I'm really lucky because he didn't hit like a ZOE or a Heimer yet, so he would have been a lot stronger. But as you can see, 5 Rebel, pretty strong. Elise, definitely stronger, right? It's a 4-cost. She does a shit ton of damage. My front line died, and then the spider slowly walked up and killed my back line. It is what it is, but the thing is, I'm relatively stable, right? Don't look at it in hindsight saying maybe you could have greeted your items. Maybe you could have done something else. It's like, yes, but at the same time, this round, I only lost by 2 units, and I could have lost by a lot more. That's why it's really important to slam those items early. Pyromaniac isn't that good because I already made a red buff. Technically, I'll have 2 red buffs that do more damage. I think Pyromania is very strong, but it's not good right now. I'm a big fan of Bulky Buddies. I think Bulky Buddies is like a safe pick almost all of the time. It just gives a lot of HP, and it gives a lot of health shield. So besides like crossing your fingers and hoping to hit on an Orn artifact that becomes really, really strong on a certain unit, it's better just take bulky buddies. So here I'll just level. I'm level 6, 50 gold, level 6, really good spot on 3-2. I'll be really capable of having a nice level 8 roll down. All that matters to me right now is to preserve my HP. My econ is in a good spot. I feel relatively rich compared to the lobby, or I'm on par with the rest of the lobby. Most people are level 650 gold. Most people have econ traits as well because that's just the meta. They're all kind of preparing for a level 8 roll down. So we all have a similar strategy in the lobby, so I'm matching the lobby in that regards. And I have 3 items. I have 3 items for carry, and I'm playing around a chainmail. I just worry about making frontline items from now on. We're good to go, right? I'm pretty happy with my spot, and we'll see how it goes. Of course, some of these fights, like I said, this guy has like artifact. This guy's prismatic pipeline, by the way. It's the most broken augment. They're nerfing it severely in the upcoming patch. You won't have to worry about it if you've been seeing it. But basically, prismatic pipeline is almost a guaranteed win a lot of times when you take it. I think the 2 most insane prismatics that you can hit as of the previous patch are Ghosts of the Fallen or Ghosts of Friends Past, whatever it's called, and then Prismatic Pipeline, and both of them are getting heavily nerfed in the upcoming patch, so you won't have to worry about it too much. But just know that guy just has a bunch of fucking Orn artifacts because you got a Prismatic Orb that gave him bonus loot, so you got a bunch of gold and Prismatic Orbs. So I'm a little bit, obviously I'm going to lose against those players that are in a really insane spot. But this board is relatively stable, right? That's the main thing that I want to illustrate, is that it's stable, right? If I had a Vex upgrade, I'd be in a way better spot. If I had like a set upgrade, I'd be in a way better spot, obviously. But as you can see, 5 Rebel early game, even if you lose rounds, you're not going to lose by that much, right? As you can see here, I'm only losing by 2 units every round, right? The problem when you're in these spots, if you're trying to set up for a level 8 roll down, a lot of times it's like you can't really roll that much to upgrade your units to be stable on this stage. It's not like a reroll, right? I'm not gonna like start rolling here to try and find like set 2 because it might grief my econ. I might put myself in a spot where then I will have a really bad level 8 roll down, for example. So a lot of times you run into these spots where other people are getting strong and you're not really strong. You have to really be creative with the boards. This isn't particularly creative, but you kind of have to have a little bit of a knowledge of knowing like, hey, these units are really strong. This unit's absurdly tanky. Even if I lose all these rounds, right? As you can see, I lost the last 3 rounds. I'm still 71 HP, right? Most of the lobby is around 70 HP, right? There's one guy with 50 HP, one guy with 62 HP, 2 people at 76. But because my losses aren't really, really bad, that's what sets me up for a good level 8. Right? Right now, if I was losing by like 10 units every single game, like every single board, I was just full open, I was losing against the whole board, I'd be in a really bad spot because I would be at like 50 HP, right? This guy that's 50 HP, I don't know what he's playing, but that might end up being a really bad spot for him. I have longevity because I have an augment that's a combat, right? I have bulky buddies, so once I have upgraded units and really strong units, I get a lot of value off of that. I'm level 750 gold because I took an econ augment, so I have good money. I have decent HP, I have decent board value, right? I have an upgraded set, I have an upgraded Irelia, so there's some investment on my board. It's not like I have all 1 costs. I'm pretty happy with this spot. Obviously, this guy, he has a Silco, but I'm not going to bitch about him having a Silco because I'm pretty happy with where I am. Him having a Silco is actually really good for me. The reason that I'm happy that he has a Silco is because there's a good chance that he will just play Silco because he has a Silco. I know that sounds stupid, but I want there not to be a ZOE player because I didn't make Heimer items. And I didn't really make Silco items. Silco, you usually want Nashers on as well. Red buff's okay, but I think Nasher's a lot better on him just because you need him to cast a bunch. So I really want to play around ZOE with this board. I have crit and damage amp, so I'm trying to like one-shot the backline kind of beat. So I really want to play towards ZOE here. So the more people I see that aren't playing Rebel ZOE, the happier I am because it means that when I roll on level 8, I'll probably be uncontested, even though like I'm sure they'll all hold it. Like that Silco player you saw, he was holding an Alawi on bench. Like we know what's up. He's going to hold on to those units. As you can see, I'm holding a Garen on bench. Why am I holding a Garen? If I roll on level 8, even though I said that I really want to play around ZOE, right? Like I know I'm leading into that I want to play around ZOE. If I don't hit ZOE and I hit Heimerdinger, fuck it, I'll play Black Rose Heimer. I already found a Garen, right? I'm not gonna not buy the Garen. That's ridiculous. I'm holding on to the Garen, even though it's not gonna fit in with the ZOE board. It's still good to have. When I say ZOE board, I'm just playing Vertical Rebel. I'm not going to put in the team planner because it's basically just Vertical Rebel. You just click all the Rebel units. It's pretty simple. Here I lost really hard, by the way. This is like a not stable loss, but like this is what I mean by being not stable. If all my losses were like against this guy, I'd be in a really bad spot. As you can see, I held on to Elise as well. Why am I holding on to Elise? Because what if I find a Heimerdinger? Like Elise could also fit onto Elise is a bruiser, by the way, so it also fits onto the Rebel board really nicely. But I'm just chilling, right? You hold on to the forecast that you see along the way. You put yourself in a good spot, and that's part of flex play. Obviously, I'm not holding on to the cheap Black Rose unit, so I'm not really gonna play Black Rose, or I'm not like leaning into Black Rose that heavily as like a flex option. But at the same time, we just try our best and we be careful here. Depending on what I hit on my roll down, we'll decide exactly what we play. I think I'm gonna level here on 4-1. But we'll decide exactly if I do it or not. Yeah, okay, I just level on 4-1. I find a Jinx, so I'm basically just going to play Rebel for sure. I also got dropped a sword and 2 gloves, which is pretty bad. It's hard to make frontline items like that. So, but the good thing is I have a Jinx, so I have an outlet to use my sword items on now, which is really great for me. As you can see, I'm holding on to this Mundo. Oh, great, I hit Mundo 2. Whatever. I found a Silco. I'll just play Silco. As you can see, I'm trying to build a board. I didn't find any Zoes, right? That's a big thing. I did not find any Zoes, so I'm trying to like make a board. This is like that scary part. I'm not going to sell the Vex here because I'm probably going to play around Vex at one point in this game. I found the Jinx already, so I really want to play around Rebels here. But you don't dismiss the fact that I found a Mundo 2 and I found 2 copies of Silco. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play Silco for the time being. This round, I might even win. We'll see. I'm not sure. But I win this round because I upgraded Mundo and I put Mundo in, right? As you can see, that's HP. That's a saved round. Am I going to play Silco for the rest of the game? Maybe. If I hit the rest of the Black Rose board, we'll see. It was a bit of a messy transition, so luckily I fought somebody that was weak, but I'll figure it out along the way. So Bruiser Crest, that's better if you're playing like Vertical Bruiser. I don't think I take that. Malicious monetization is okay. I didn't really hit a combat here. I'm probably just going to take Malicious monetization if I'm being honest. This Jinx Savika augment, it's maybe an okay spot, but I just don't see myself hitting Jinx 2 very readily right now. If I was in a better spot, I'd take it. And what do you know? I found a Zoe. So guess what? I just instantly sell the Silco because I already have the Jinx. I'm just going to play around Zoe. I'm going to put in the Rebels. There we go. What is that? 5 Rebel. I need to put in Zoe, by the way. Come on. Come on. You can do it, Fenrir. All right. We got Zoe in. I have this guy and I'm 7 Rebel. I need to find a copy of either, who am I missing? I'm missing, I think there's somebody I'm missing on my bench. Yeah, I could just put Vex in, right? So I have to put in Vex over Garen. As you can see, I'm still have the Mundo in the front line with the TG. I put the Giant Slayer on the Jinx, so I have an extra item there for Jinx. I'm not sure if it's better to put Giant Slayer or Red Buff on Jinx and then like swap it with the Zoe. But this is fine. I'm Zoe paired. Most of the board is not playing around this Zoe unit, so we're okay. My gold augment is a lot of gold. This malicious monetization is pretty good if you're strong. Obviously, I lost out on a lot of gold here. Basically, every champion drops 2 gold. So when you're playing against all these level 8 boards, you get a lot of gold per round. As you can see, I've already reestablished my econ to 20. That's why I was rolling very aggressively. Because in my head, the way that I see it is like, alright, I should be good here. As long as I kill units, and I'm somewhat stable, I'll be able to get a lot of gold back from this augment. And then I'll be in a spot where I can play around Zoe and Alawi. Here I'm Zoe paired. I could roll a little bit deeper, right? But I decide I'll just econ up this round. I have Mundo 2, which is an upgraded frontline unit. I'm basically just rolling for Zoe. So there's not that much efficiency in what I'm rolling for. Because it's just a Zoe. Like, whenever you roll gold on level 8, once you find an upgraded unit, a lot of times that's enough to like stop and reevaluate your board. Unless you're in dire straits, like rolling for this Zoe here doesn't really do anything because I'm just rolling for just Zoe, right? If I was Zoe paired and Alawi paired, my rolls are significantly more efficient. The reason they're much more efficient is because I can hit Zoe or I can hit Alawi. So there's 2 things that I'm rolling for. Right now, I'm not expecting in 30 gold to see 2 Alawis in one shop and just instantly win and I'd get Alawi 2, right? I might find a Zoe, but I'm only rolling for 1 thing. I'd rather take a second, get to carousel, reevaluate. With my augment though, malicious monetization, I don't want to sit too long. I'm probably going to send it next round because I want to make sure that I get as much gold from the augment as possible. Now, the augment already paid for itself, right? That round, I got 16 gold. The round prior, I got around 10 gold. So that's like 26 gold. If you think about a gold augment in terms of how much gold it gives you, getting around like 30, 35 gold from a gold augment is right around par. It's like right around like, yeah, this is like all right. So it's not the greatest gold augment to take, but it's okay. It's just my other options I felt like weren't much better. Maybe there was a line there that I could have taken a different gold augment, but this is fine. And I'm pretty stable around Rebels. Rebels spikes a little bit harder in the mid game, and late game is harder to cap out, right? The reason it spikes a little bit harder is that it has more burst damage. So if other people don't have frontline units or don't have upgraded frontline or upgraded backline, then you can usually beat those boards pretty easily because you get so many stats from Rebel. So Rebel has a little bit of a spike, but then eventually it starts to fall off because it's harder to cap out because you really need a Jinx too. And if you're playing a board that you need like an upgraded copy of a 5 cost, it's often a little bit difficult to play around it. And you have a lot of units that late game don't really do anything, right? Like this set, the Irelia, the what's his name, the Ezreal. These aren't units that are striking fear in the hearts of the opponent. They're basically just on the board for synergy bots so that my Rebel units do more damage and have more survivability. Does that make sense? So that's why it's like it's really strong right now while these units are still kind of relevant. But if the other person hits like upgraded units, they're going to be tankier and they're going to be more damage output because their units are just going to be more meaningful on their board. Here I'm going to roll for something. I have a lot of gold. I'm going to try my best to find something that works really nice on ZOE. I only have Alawi 1, so I don't want to necessarily pick something for Alawi, but we're down for whatever. Gain 25 mana on each kill is good enough. She's going to be my main killer, my main unit that kills the units. So gaining the mana, this is something that's also getting nerfed a bit. It's just like helps her to cast more. ZOE has a really high mana threshold, so anything that helps her to cast more gives me a good chance of sniping the backline. Right now, I don't have to roll that much. I have Alawi 1. I have ZOE 2. Like I said, because I had malicious monetization, I rolled pretty aggressively last turn to try and hit the ZOE 2 because it makes sense for me to try and upgrade. I scouted the rest of the lobby. I saw that, hey, there's a lot of people that don't have complete upgrades. Nobody's particularly high roll right now. I might as well roll for this ZOE 2. Nobody's holding on to any ZOEs. Like, nobody in the lobby is playing ZOE. I'll hit ZOE 2. I'll get the gold from my malicious monetization, which is my third augment, and then I can use that gold to hopefully go 9. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to roll for Alawi just yet, but I should be strong enough to clear out at least a little bit. It's not that big of a loss. This guy's very strong. I think he's like either 8 visionary or 6 visionary. I'm checking my augment to make sure like I didn't get gold this round. It's like, yeah, okay, it's working. You know, I only got it for 3 rounds. Cool. But I'm going to go straight to 9. I know I'm 35 HP. It's a little bit scary. But on level 9, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things you can play. You can see I'm holding on to a Bruiser because Bruiser synergy will just give my whole board 100 HP. I still have this Mundo on my board. Eventually, I can sell this Mundo. I can also get a synergy for the Mundo. But right now, 7 Rebel is just way better. It's just way more important. One thing I did do that was a mistake. If somebody's commenting about it, I'm sorry. But hopefully, I'm addressing it now. But I sold an Elise earlier. That was just in the panic of transitioning my board to Rebel. You should always hold on to Elise because Elise is Bruiser and Form Swapper. So typically, if you want to cap out this board, what you would play is Elise and Jace. So Elise will give Bruiser, so then you'll be 7 Rebel, 2 Sentinel, which gives your whole team armor, 2 Bruiser, which gives your whole team Bruiser, and then you'll have Jace, which gives Form Swapper to the Elise, and Jace does a shit ton of damage. So here we go, we're rolling. I'm rolling, and I'm finding all these copies of ZOE. Now, I'm holding on to ZOE for multiple reasons, right? There's one unit that I can play, which is Bruiser, which gives my whole board 100 HP, right? Another thing I can do is I can just play 2 ZOE 2s, right? Rebel is pretty flexible in that you have so much empty space that, like, you just kind of have to evaluate what's best, right? ZOE's a Sorcerer, I know. Sorcerer just gives 20 AP, right? You have to ask yourself, what's better? 20 AP on this ZOE or a whole nother ZOE 2, right? Sometimes I play this Rebel board and I play 2 copies of Alawi, right? I also have this Mundo that's useless, right? This Mundo doesn't really do that much for my board. But I can also play a double copy of Mundo. I can play 2 copies of Jinx. Some of these things, sometimes, it's situational, of course, but they're probably a little bit better than some of the other some of the other augments or some of the other, some of the other traits you can put in. It doesn't matter what the left side of your board says. Like, you know, I don't have to put in an ambusher for Jinx. I don't need to put in a dominator for Mundo, right? These things don't really matter. As you can see, this Mundo, he's not really tanking anymore. I have a Lowy too. I should be fine. I just sell the Mundo. I'm going to TG this Zoe, and guess what? I'm pretty sure a Zoe, 2 Zoe 2s is going to be more worthwhile than having a Mundo. Right? The damage that my 2 Zoes do, like, you know, imagine the damage that a single Zoe does in Rebel. And then imagine if I duplicate that with another Zoe. It's insane. It's just a huge damage spike, right? I don't know if this is a concept that's like very, like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if this is like dumb. Like, how do I phrase it? I don't know if this is obvious. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't know if it's obvious that this is something you can do, but a lot of times if you're playing a vertical comp, sometimes the best thing to do is just to play a duplicate copy of the unit, right? I've played Rebels, and, like, you know, Rebel with 2 Jinxes is really strong, right? Like, getting 10 AP from LeBlanc, yes, you can maybe do the math, and it might work out one way or another, I don't know. But in my head, it's like, I'd rather just play 2 copies of Zoe. If I hit Zoe 3, I hit Zoe 3. That's a whole separate issue, right? But even if I wasn't going for Zoe 3, just playing 2 copies of Zoe seems really good. Look at my damage, right? My first Zoe obviously is going to do the most damage. My second damage is from the other Zoe. And the other Zoe has like shit items. She has like a TG, right? If I have 3 items for Zoe, I'd rather put 3 items on a second Zoe than play a LeBlanc and put 3 items on a LeBlanc. Because LeBlanc isn't going to do dick all. The Zoe is the one that has the Rebel trait that my whole board is built around. But I'm playing all these shitter units because 7 Rebel gives a stun, it gives a bunch of AP, and it gives a bunch of AD, and it gives like HP, and it gives some attack speed. So I'm totally down for this. Anyways, I get executed because this guy has Gold Collector. It is what it is. We're basically just playing for like a top 4-ish at this point. A lot of people high roll really, really hard. The reason I'm losing so many of these rounds is because my third gold augment is pretty much useless, right? It was just like a bunch of gold that helped me to hit my board. Everybody else hit their board anyway. So me having the extra gold, my board isn't any more impressive than any of their boards. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you look at my board, right? I have Alawi 2, Zoe 2, Zoe 2, Jinx 1. If you look at other people's boards, they have like Garen 2, Heimer 2, Malzahar. It's like the same thing, right? Like they have upgraded 4 cost, copy of 5 cost, etc., right? It's not like the most crazy thing ever. Here I'm rolling for Jinx upgrade, by the way. Jinx upgrade or Jace upgrade. If you look at my bench, I have way too many unit pairs, so it's really efficient. And then now I'm just rolling for the Zoe 3 because I'm 1 off Zoe 3. Everybody's playing around 4 costs in this lobby, which means that the pool is very thin, right? Everybody's holding on to every kind of fucking unit. Here I put in Elise, by the way. Elise, I'm pretty happy with now over the other Zoe, right? The reason I'm putting in the Elise over the other Zoe is because it gives Form Swapper to Jace, and Jace does a lot of damage, right? So this Jace unit getting Form Swapper and getting the Elise in, now I get Form Swapper for Jace, which ups the damage of the Jace. I get Form Swapper for Elise, which gives me some extra frontline sustain. And then I also get what's it called? Bruiser because of the Elise. So now I'm getting a lot of team-wide stats, right? I'm getting another tank in the form of this this Elise. Sorry, I'm distracted by how efficient I got this Zoe 3. But anyways, I just hit a Zoe 3. It's like a Giga bailout. It looks like this game I was probably going 5th. Like I said, my third augment was pretty bad. I don't know if there was a better option that I could have taken, but I just hit Zoe 3. I'm going to go back and just double check. Right? Like, what could I have taken? Most of the reason that my board is doing bad is because my third augment is basically useless, right? I have triple econ. I have double econ and only 1 combat. What did I roll past first? Maybe I'll just take Spear's Will. Spear's Will or Clockwork Accelerator is probably a little bit better. So I should have settled on either Spear's Will or Clockwork Accelerator. So right here, I should have settled on Spear's Will. That would have put me in a better spot late game. Malicious Monetization helped me to hit my board, but Spear's Will was probably the best pick here if I wanted to have raw power. Because the Malicious Monetization just didn't really, like, you know, besides me hitting the board that I wanted to, it didn't really matter, right? Like, I didn't have to go 9. I could have just stayed on level 8 and played for placements and have a combat augment, and it would have been better off. Let's go back. So I hit Zoe 3. Let's go, Zoe 3. Let's go. GG, everybody. Now we get to watch Zoe 3 for a little bit. Have you guys ever seen a Zoe 3? Watch this. It's gonna be really funny. The whole board is just gonna fucking die. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that Malzahar is looking mighty low on HP. Well, GG. A lot of the reason why I hit ZOE 3, you'll see at the end of the game, right? It seems really high roll. It is kind of high roll, right? Mind you, I'm level 9. But it's like, well, you just kind of hit all these ZOEs, right? Well, the reason I hit all these ZOEs is because, look, this guy has Heimer 2 Elise 2. This guy has Heimer 2 Elise 1. They're all holding so many of the forecasts out of the pool that it makes it really easy to hit. So if you're playing a lobby where everybody's trying to play the same line, a lot of times if you're the only person playing a different line, you're not only going to have an easier time hitting the board, but you can also bail yourself out like this. Now, obviously, this was a little bit of a bailout. Like I said, I think I messed up really hard. The biggest mess up I did this game, by far. There's 2 mess ups. One mess up was selling Elise. That was a big mess up. I kind of skated over that, but I don't want to stress it enough. Selling Elise there was fucking bad. That was really bad, by the way. That was really, really bad. The other problem I did, malicious monetization. I should have just taken Spear's Will. I didn't want to settle for Spear's Will, so I rolled the middle augment, and that was a mistake for sure, because combat would have put me in a better spot. So those mistakes were enough to probably send me 5th, but I identified the condition of hitting ZOE 3, right? If I wasn't close to ZOE 3, by the way, I would just sell the ZOEs and roll for Jinx 2. Because another way I could have gotten top 4 here was with the Jinx 2. But as you can see, I even sold the Jinx on my bench. I kind of went all in on the ZOE 3 because I was so close to hitting ZOE 3. But this board, in order to keep up with these other boards, if you don't have ZOE 3, the way that you keep up is that you hit either Jace 2, you hit Jinx 2, or you hit some other, or like Elise 2, and you upgrade those other units, right? The gold that I would have used to roll and upgrade those units, I instead held on to extra ZOEs and upgraded the ZOEs, right? There was one turn that I was talking about how I played 2 copies of ZOE. That's good for a temporary fix until you can win the rounds. But eventually, like, you know, what's better than a ZOE, than 2 ZOE 2s? A Jinx 2, right? Obviously, the Jinx 2 is going to do more damage than the second ZOE by far. So eventually, I would have sold that ZOE and go for Jinx 2 if I was in dire straits. But because I found so many copies of ZOE, I was basically one off. I said, you know what? I'm just all in on ZOE here, because I'm not going to sell all these ZOEs and roll for Jinx, because if I don't get the Jinx, then I'm fucked anyways. So I might as well just go for the ZOE 3. Yeah. It's just kind of GG. Hopefully this was an enjoyable video. I tried my best to make it informative. I think starting tomorrow, I'm going to do 2 videos per day, just because I have a lot of VODs that I wanted to go through, like some of these ones that are like fun and interesting and unique and like silly. So I want to post all of them. We're very close to our subscriber goal. As soon as we hit the subscriber goal, I'll give you guys information in each of the videos. It'll be like a week-long thing where I'll tell you guys how to enter the giveaway. We've done a couple giveaways. If you're somebody who did the giveaway before, you know how it flies. But I'll kind of go through all of that with you guys. We're actually very close. We might hit it by the time I wake up tomorrow. It actually went a lot faster than I thought. I don't know why, but I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. Also, the Jace dummy doesn't matter for bulky buddies, by the way. I tested it. I know it looks dumb that I have bulky buddies and there's 3 in a row in the top. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Trust me. I did test it, and it does not affect bulky buddies. And if it does, then I don't know what the fuck happened that 2 games I tested. I tested it twice to make sure. I double checked. It's the same with Scion. I don't know if that's meant to be a bug. I think it is a bug, but they didn't say that they bug fixed it. But there's like a Scion bug that everybody does with bulky buddies, so I don't even feel bad about telling you about it. But Scion gets bulky buddies with like thing, right? You know, everybody does it. Nobody ever seems to like care. So like, I guess it's intended. I'm not sure though. So it looks weird. So I don't know. But yeah, do that too, I guess. Unless they tell you not to, then don't do it, obviously. I'm waiting to see if they tell me it's not okay. But yeah, we're just sitting here. It's just cutscene time. Cutscene time, everybody. Cutscene time. Isn't ZOE kind of cool, though? I like this ZOE board. This Rebel board, you know, people sometimes come into my stream and they ask me, like, hey, what's your favorite comp this set? What do you like to do? I think my biggest adjustment in terms of climbing in Diamond so far, right now I'm like Diamond 2 something LP. I know that I just hit like top, like right outside top 1,000 in NA, and I said I'm good for today. I'm happy with my progress, and I did art all day today because I'm entering an art contest, if you guys don't know. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on my art so I can enter my art contest. So I think I'm like diamond 230 LP right now, 32 LP, something like that. And a lot of the LP that I climbed with was playing more ZOE, because I think there's like this nature, like the higher your LP, like the higher when you try and rank up. It's apparent in every rank, by the way, right? There's certain comps that are way more dominant in other ranks because it's like the quote-unquote good comp, right? So like you might be in plat, for example, and everybody's playing Heimer. You might be in emerald and everybody's playing Heimer. I'm telling you, I'm in diamond, and in this lobby everybody's playing Heimer. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's fucking playing Heimer. As you can see, I'm holding Heimers on bench. The reason I'm doing that is for insurance, right? I'm holding Malzahar because in case he hits Malzahar 2, I want to hold it to try and deny it. I'm holding Garens and I'm holding Heimers because the only way I lose this game is if one of these jackasses hits a 3-star 4 cost, you know? Not like me. You know, I was the jackass this game. I scammed the lobby. I'll admit it, right? I had no right winning the lobby. I was just playing for 4th, right? I was trying to save HP, play for 4th. And we just hit ZOE 3. But anyways, well, I digress. I've been climbing the most with this Rebel comp. And it's not really getting adjusted or changed at all in the next patch. So that's really interesting, because I still think it's very, very strong. I think that the flex options are a little bit weaker. So I think more people are going to play around ZOE. So come tomorrow, I expect to see ZOE being a little bit more popular amongst all the ranks, just because it is quite strong. Just playing vertical rebel, it's also very straightforward, right? You just play rebels, right? It's like they like whenever you have to play one trait unit, like one trait boards, it's a lot easier because even on your roll down, whether it's in your team planner or not, it's very easy to recognize. Like, oh yeah, this guy has blue hair, I buy him. This guy's blue hair, I buy him as well. This guy's blue hair, I buy him, right? It's a lot easier to play. There's less chances you can fuck it up, right? And I'm not saying that you will. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's nice. I think it's good. I think it's good that that exists. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's very like I fuck up all the time, so I'm really happy when there's sometimes when there's comps like this. Yeah, last fight, everybody. Hopefully you've been enjoying the content. Like I said, there will be a guide tomorrow. If you're a guide frog that you love the guides that I do on this channel, and you fucking can't bear watching me do a VOD review, don't worry, we're gonna do a guide tomorrow. Also, I should update the thing here, the sub goal. Oh no, it's in the VOD. Okay, I can't update it because in the video itself. Anyways, that's a first. ZOE 3. Hopefully that was interesting. ZOE's great unit. I enjoy playing it, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow with a guide as well as one more VOD review. I'm gonna do 2 videos tomorrow. And you could probably catch me live playing TFT tomorrow, I think. I don't know if I'll do art or TFT tomorrow. I'll try and do a little bit of both. Bye bye.